Now moving on to some Christian self-ownage. A high school artist called out Christian bigotry. Her school board is furious. So, again, this comes to us from Friendly Atheist. So Abby Driscoll did an art piece for a... all right, well, okay. They describe the art piece. It's the background features a page... the background is pages that were torn out of the Bible. And on top of that, she has painted hands clasping a rosary with rainbow-colored bloodstains with text that reads, "God loves you, but not enough to save you." So that's the art. Very provocative.
As much good art tends to be.
Yeah. It gets the message that they are intending to convey across with, like, it's very unambiguous. People that are LGBTQ are apparently not loved by God, according to some Christians. So if we read if we read Driscoll's explanation for this, the piece is representative of the idea that growing up queer meant you couldn't be saved by God. I grew up in a religious background that influenced this project. Then explain some of the symbolism and some of the other stuff as well. Now, this was part of an art display that was specifically supposed to focus on the theme of trauma. So now this person is saying that, like, growing up LGBTQ in a highly religious environment with people telling me that God doesn't love me for who I am, I need to change who I am in order to earn God's love, that's traumatic. Like,
I think that kind of goes without saying.
Yeah, religious trauma is a real thing that exists. And so, given the theme of the art show, which it doesn't specify whether it's an art show where it's like just this one specific kid's art or whether it was like a school thing. I get the impression that it was a school thing and this was just one piece in it. But, like, given the theme, that's entirely appropriate. 100%. So naturally, the Christians proved her point by saying this particular piece of art is seen as offensive to some, including myself. The school board has called a special meeting tonight at 9 p.m., tonight on a Saturday, at 9 p.m. to discuss. They didn't contact the artist. They didn't contact the artist's family. They were just like, oh, they ripped pages out of the Bible and painted on it and suggested that Christians might not be nice people to gay people. So we need to have a meeting. That makes me angry. That makes me angry. We need to have a meeting about this and see what we can do about getting this LGBTQ person's art suppressed. So, like, proving the point that the art piece was trying to make. Like,
yeah.
This is exactly what she was saying. Like, I don't know how much more on the nose you could be than this. Like, let's try and ban this piece of art explaining how mean we are to the people that make this kind of art.
We're not mean, though. We're loving. Look at us. Look at us lovingly beating you. Look at us lovingly censoring you. Look at us lovingly taping your mouth shut.
So Rosina is asking, are they mad at the Bible having ripped pages or the message? The answer is yes.
Yeah, the answer is they value the book more than the message you were trying to make.
Just wait till we read the part about the ripped pages.
Oh dear.
So Hemant says. So I'm not reading this whole article out like I normally would. So just go to what is it? Friendly Atheist. Yeah, Friendly Atheist. Hemant Mehta's website. Go to his website. Read the whole thing if you want. He says, if anything, they prove their point. The feelings of many LGBTQ students have direct consequence or have as a direct consequence of Christians' bigotry. Okay.
You're right.
If anything, they proved her point. The feelings that many LGBTQ students have as a direct consequence of Christian bigotry is a perfectly valid subject for a piece of art, whether it's a painting, an essay, or a monologue. Yeah, no, that wasn't his writing. That was the problem. That was my head. That was the problem. I misread the intro, and that made the rest of it not make sense.
You should think about getting better head.
I have thought about that many times. So yeah, she's just making a provocative piece of art to explain how being queer in a Christian community makes her feel. And of course, the Christians in her community are like, no, you can't express that. You're just supposed to feel it in silence over in the corner and then pretend not to be queer to earn our admiration and respect. So,
Love the sinner and not the love the sinner and hate the sin.
So the people that
is impossible.
Yeah. So the people that were trying to get this piece of art banned were saying that a culture of respect needs to be maintained at school. Never gave any details as to how this particular piece of art violated that.
It's not disrespectful at all.
Yeah. So he says if calling out injustice hurts people's feelings, then that's their problem, not the people calling out the injustice problem. Apparently it's disrespectful to Christians when queer students point out how hateful those Christians appear. It's telling that Simmons cares far more about the feelings of religious bigots than their victims. Yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Another guy chimed in, said, I am also one who is personally offended by this. Like, okay, well then you're part of the problem. But then this is
like, what did you find offensive about it?
They try to get into the argument that we often make. We like when they say, "Oh, well, we need to allow prayers to open meetings," and then we say, "Well, what if a Muslim gets up there? Would you still want to allow that?" It says, by allowing torn pages from the Holy Bible to be the canvas of a clearly anti-Christian message, we are opening the door to all religious texts for all religious faiths to be subject to being treated the same way. Imagine if those were torn pages from the Quran, the Talmud, or religious texts of any faith, or of any other faith.
All?
I would be okay with all of that.
Like, it's a book. We printed it off a printing press. So for just for a second, let's pretend for a minute that any of this matters. Let's pretend it matters for a second. So at what point does that Bible become holy? Is it when you paid $30.99 for it at the bookstore that it became
$60
holy?
if you get the Trump Bible.
Is it when it came off of the press and they put that fake gold leaf gilding on it? If you even got one that has that,
that's what caused the sticky pages of the Trump Bible. We promise.
Is it at what point does it become holy? Is it when you get one that has the little notches in it? Is that what is putting the little notches in the Bible where it lets you thumb?
That's what makes it literally holy.
Is that the one that is bad? Because technically that's desecrating the Bible to make it easier to flip to different chapters in the Bible. Oh shit, I'm sorry, I accidentally ripped my Bible a little bit when I put a bookmarker in it because I didn't have those little tabs and I wanted to the pages are really thin, you see. Was that desecration of the Bible? Like at what point did that thing become holy on its own is my question. You can say, oh no, it's the idea of it. I don't care if it's the idea of it. It's a book. It came off a printing press. Books are not sacred. Books are not holy.
This is my confirmation Bible that I got when I was 13 years old. It has removable Corinthians.
I don't think I have my Bible I had in PCA because the PCA Bibles, the ones that we got from Abeka, were like an inch thick. So the pages are like silk. They are so nightmarishly thin. It was everybody had a fucked up one when I was growing up, and they were worried they had a fucked up one.
Oh, I was proud of my fucked up. So my Bibles had removable Corinthians since I was in high school, and I was proud of that because that showed how much I read my Bible. It's like, it wouldn't be like if it's in pristine, perfect condition, that means you don't read it. But anyway, Jimanian, sorry if I'm saying that wrong, says, is the slave Bible also holy? I need to point this out because I learned this recently myself, and it's something that I find kind of fascinating, is that the slave Bible was actually put together by an abolitionist, someone who wanted to get rid of slavery, to abolish slavery. It was the church, no, not the church, the Museum of the Bible. They actually lied about him to make it sound worse than it was, to make it sound like the slave Bible made it look like you had to edit the Bible to make it look like it endorsed slavery, when in actuality, no, the Bible just endorses slavery. And the slave Bible was actually a tool that this guy, Belby Porteous was his name. He was like one of the first abolitionists in the Church of England. And his goal with this was to use, like, it wasn't a slave Bible as in like this is a Bible to keep the slaves placated. It was a slave Bible in the sense that this is the Bible that we are to use when tailoring our Sunday message to the slaves, because the slave owners will be happy with them converting to Christianity, and we'll kind of sneak some education in there so that when we free the slaves, they're educated and they can have a better start to life. I disagree with the methods, but the motivation behind the slave Bible was in the right place. So, yeah, as far as something could be considered holy, I would say that the slave Bible, yeah, actually is, despite what the Museum of the Bible has called it. Yeah, no, they just flat out lied about it like they do about so many of their things.
Yay.
So it's I'm on a mission to rehabilitate the slave Bible.
Why would Christians ever lie, though? Is it because technically there's a workaround in the Ten Commandments where it doesn't say thou shalt not lie? It says thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor?
Yeah, no, actually, if you read the Bible, there is no single spot where it actually says not to lie.
Yeah, no, it just says don't lie in court.
Yeah, and then in the New Testament, it actually calls Rahab righteous when the sole action that Rahab took that could have her being righteous was to lie to people about where the Jewish spies were. So her righteous action was a lie. So either lying is okay some of the time, like morality is relative, because telling a lie is not always wrong, because Rahab was righteous.
Do you remember when Ken Ham who tried to say that the holy thing to do during the Holocaust was to actually it was either Ken Ham or it was
Bodie Hodge.
Coven.
It was Bodie Hodge. It was Bodie Hodge in one of the Answers books. I have that book on my shelf over there. I've read that book on my channel, and when I got to that chapter, it was just like, oh my fucking god. I've met Bodie. I've met Bodie. I have a selfie of me with Bodie Hodge. Because when I was working in a restaurant, AIG held a conference at the hotel that my restaurant was located in, and Bodie Hodge sat in my section, and I took a selfie with him, and he was not in a good mood that night. So, like, I don't know, it was a very awkward encounter, but, like, eh.
Do you feel a little gross after that?
No, everybody else that worked with me was like, why are you excited about this guy that nobody knows about in your section? You're like, because he's like my arch nemesis, man. Come on. I mean, is he ever in a good mood? No. Have you seen how Ken Ham treats him? He's a miserable, sad person, and I actually kind of feel bad for him. But he wrote a chapter saying why he wouldn't lie to a Nazi to save a Jew's life, so I can't feel that bad for him.
Yeah. At a certain point, you just accept that some people will give any excuse to be horrible.
Yeah. So,
and he is one of those people.
Back to the article. Heaven says, if you're more offended by the torn pages of the Bible than the harmful, hateful message that's literally written in red across the canvas, then you missed the entire point. Yep. Those pages were not torn for the purpose of offending Christians. They were pages used to show how the supposed biblical message of God's love can be twisted by the followers of that very book. Which I would disagree that the overall message of the Bible is one of love, but that's pedantry at this point. So, like, if you're accepting the cultural view that, you know, even if you're not a Christian, Jesus was a good guy who taught about love. Yeah, no, the people using the Bible to spread hate is against that. And I would agree.
Look, I don't need every Christian to be right. I just need them to not harm as many people as they do.
Yeah. And Dawn, who is the artist's mother, was surprised that no one from the school board ever reached out to the family or specifically to Abby to let her speak to the piece before going into a meeting to discuss it. I guess a lot of the blowback or backlash against this piece kind of proves the art's message. Now, one of the good things, like, Abby has supportive parents and a supportive community, so Abby is able to make art like this without it being massively negative for her. So that's a good thing. Also, her art was allowed to be in the show. So that is also a good thing.
So it was allowed to be in the show, but
yeah.
then everybody got mad.
Yeah, but everybody got mad about it. But like, ultimately, her art was allowed in the show, and it was provocative, and it got attention, and now people weigh for, like, I don't expect that when my kid does an art, like, one of my kids had to, like, build a musical instrument today as part of an art project, or, like, over the last couple of weeks, and there was a presentation of it where everybody was supposed to come to the thing and see their kids perform or whatever on their musical instruments. And I was expecting it to be like a kind of concert sort of thing. And I, like, you know, it's going to sound terrible because it's a bunch of 5th graders with homemade instruments putting on a concert. But like, yeah, no, I can deal with that or whatever. It ended up being every single kid did something percussion. And they just put them all in the gymnasium and it was like, okay, everybody start banging your instrument right now and people will walk through and look at them all. And it was,
Cool.
it was the worst. It was so bad. But like, I gotta go for my kid.
Yeah, makes sense.
But like, I forget where I was going with that.
I mean, you were using that to
Fennec is like,
to the
oh, that
art
sounds
thing?
cute, and is like, oh, that sounds less cute. Yeah. Yeah, no, I forget how I was comparing that to the art thing though. I forget what I was trying to say with that comparison. I don't know.
Was the message too provocative for you to remember?
Maybe.
But hopefully a bunch of other parents didn't get mad about it. God fucking shitballs!
Rosina says, banging things in the 5th grade. Yeah. All percussion all the time. It was not good. Okay. Oh, I forgot to do this. Okay, go. Let's go back to the. Oh, hydrate. Yeah. Okay. Sure. I guess I will hydrate.
You guess you'll hydrate? Well, I'm glad you'll hydrate a little bit.
I feel a cold coming on. Probably as a result of all the stress I've been under recently. So, yay.
Yeah.
Don't
worry about you.
Oh, god damn it. I was hoping to avoid the hats. Okay. Shapka. We haven't done the Shapka recently. There. In Soviet Russia, tweets twit you.
No, they don't. In Soviet Russia, tweets behind Iron Curtain.
Okay. So I forgot.
Hey, I just quickly want to give a thank you to all of my wonderful patrons who keep this show running. YouTube and Twitch are a pretty bumpy ride at the best of times, and the stability a Patreon provides me is worth more than I can say here. I'd also like to thank each and every one of my $20 and up patrons here, and they would be Red Joker, Britzkrieg, Cameron, Dren, Jemshin, Smiling DM, Poundini, Mabbity Babbity, Naomi, Isaac, Nixie Chan, the Oberon team, Agamotto, Jordan, Ravi, Giuni, Kiratorian, Prisma, all of you, I'm not saying that part, and Starlight. And finally, thank you to everyone else that helps keep this channel alive. While you're here, why not check out another video? And thank you for watching.